Now, let's bring back our attacks. For attacking, we need to create a condition and a new entire state. So let's go and fix the condition first. But before we do that, we need to create a new way of adding inputs. Up till now, we only have the axis, so we need to have an input, for buttons. Let's go on to mono actions. We have our input axis. Let's create a new script for input button. Save that. I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to say mono actions, and this one now is going to take from action. Then we need an override for the execute, as always, and we need a target button, the target name we have for a button, that is, and we need an enum for the button state, or where we want to call it. Okay, we have on down, on current, or on state, or whatever, on up. Okay, then we can assign this over here when we want to get it, button state, and let's call this button state without the capital B, and in here we're going to assign a button state based on the enum. And for example, we also need a bool is pressed. So is pressed is going to be input get button, on down is going to be down target button. Copy this, paste and paste, and we just need to switch this to get button and this to get button up. Okay, simple enough. Let's create also an asset menu name. I believe this I'm just going to copy this, and this one is going to be inputs and this one just be button. The only downside to this, well, it's not really a downside, but you can't use the mouse button call directly, but you can use the mouse button that is added in the input in the input manager Unity has. So if you want to use this again for the mouse, you can do it from there instead of using input get mouse button. There's not really that big of a difference anyway. So let's go over here, actions, mono actions, inputs, button. We have right bumper, right trigger, left bumper, left trigger. If we go now into project settings, input, you see I have already named them, so I can just go and add over here. This is right bumper, right trigger, left trigger, and left bumper. I'm just going to leave them on down. Okay, and yeah, this will work fine. Let's go now onto our input manager. And before we go to the input manager, actually we can go and add them over here as well. Input manager, and so on and so on. Okay, not input manager, input button, and say RB RT LB LT, and similarly we can just go and say RB execute RT execute LB execute LT execute. And down here we now need to go and add the new variables into our state manager. So let's go find our state manager. I'm going to do a big definition and just go to definition and pin this on the start. And let's also pin the input manager and let's close everything else. Close this as well. Again, we have already added them in here and we can basically delete most of this, but we'll do this later because I want to, you know, look into a few more things. So public bool RB, public bool RT, public bool LB, public bool LT, and now we can go and create the conditions after we go and update the player values we have over here. Player states dot value RB will be RB dot is pressed. Player states value RT is pressed. Player states value LB is pressed, and player states value LT equals LT is pressed. Now, if I wasn't planning for this one to be a little bit more reusable, for the state manager to be more reusable, for example, any client controllers or any enemies, we'll need to check for this to know which, well, okay, the enemies won't really need to do a check for all of this. Yeah, I could have decoupled even further and just pass this into bool variables and then update the state manager without even going through the input manager. Okay, but I think that could be a little bit more complexity that we need at the moment. Let this compile. Awesome. And now we need condition. And the condition we're going to call play animation on input. Save that, and as you can see, MonoDevelop doesn't, not MonoDevelop, Visual Studio doesn't want to load with the first the scripts. Okay, so here's the thing. We have a bool and we are checking a condition. As you remember over here, we have created a condition. It can also have a description. This only goes for the behavior editor, and this checks for, this basically waits for you to create a body for the abstract bool to return you a value, true or false. In this case, if it's true, it basically means that we are moving on to a different state. So states, because I know I want this to be based on our inputs, I'm going to create an enum. Okay, and I'm going to say input button. For right now, we only need this 4. Okay, let's also put public input button. Let's call it button, and this will be button. Actually, let's do it like this, and instead of doing that, we're going to say return states dot RB, return state dot RT, return state dot LB, and return state dot LT, and simply return false over here. Okay, so this will basically return you a value. However, we can go a little bit further and add a bool variable, a boot return variable. Okay, it will start as false. It will return over here, return variable, and we're going to say return variable equals state or b. Now we need to introduce back the break. Return variable equals this, another break, again return variable, another break, and another break. Oops, that's not a break. And just delete this into a break. So now if I wanted to check if the return variable is true, over here I can play attack animation. Okay, awesome. So whenever this returns now true, we're going to add this into a transition. Let's create this, create asset menu, menu name. Let's call this conditions, play animation on input. However, now we need something to play the animation, but here's what we're going to do for now. I'm just going to say states anim dot crossfade into OH attack 1, and let's go with 0.2f. Okay. We need one more thing though. This will play the animation, but we're still going to be able to move around. So we need a way to know for when we need to go back onto the locomotion state. So I'm going to create a new condition, which I'm going to say wait for animation to end. Let's open it up. Delete all of this, namespace, come on. This is now going to be a condition, and we need a public override check condition. Let's say return false for now. So here's what we need. Whenever we play an animation, as you remember, into our controller, and whenever we play an attack animation, we go out of the empty override, and when we finish with one of the animations and going back down here, for example, the bool name is interacting, is going to return to false. So that means if this returns and it's a false one, then that means we are basically finished playing the animation. So I'm going to say bool return value, and I'm going to say state dot anim get bool. We can also, in case we need to change this, we can just add target bool over here and add this instead, target bool. Let's also initialize it, is interacting, and return the return value. I'm going to copy this and play animation on input. I'm going to add this one as well over here. So whenever I play this animation, this will change and it will handle the attack animation from a different script, maybe the state manager, we'll see. But for now, let's keep it over here. And I'm going to say state anim set bool, target bool, set it to true. Okay. Awesome. So we can now open up the behavior editor. We have our graph. Let's create a new state, and inside the state I'm going to add the locomotion. We do have an error. Yeah, it's coming from the reorderable list because we need to add more reorderable list for this. The problem is actually when we serialize this, because we changed the names. So give me a second. Okay, so the correct ones are on fixed and on update, the property names. And well, I basically remove the on ender. Okay, so yeah, if you want to add it, you can add it. I don't think we're going to need it. Let's see if this will work. If it doesn't, then we're going to skip the editor for now. Behavior editor, let's see, add state, locomotion, and here we are. And you can see that we have all the actions we have. So on state, yeah, we need to change the name. On state is basically our fixed update, and this one is our update. So I'm going to create a condition, because I don't, alternatively I can just go into the locomotion and add the transitions in here. Okay, but now I just have a condition. For the condition, we need to go and create these conditions. So let's go into data, create folder. I'm going to name these conditions, create conditions, play animation on input. Okay, is interacting. We can also, well, we are not really utilizing the condition anyway, the description, play animation on input. So when this is true, I'm going to add a new state, and we're going to have to go and create a new state now. So editor, not editor, actions, state, wait for animation. This will be our state. I'm just going to drag and drop this, make transition, connect these two, and this one now is going to have a new condition. And we didn't add the create asset menu, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, and we need the opposite of this, because when it's false, when it's interacting is false, we need to go back into locomotion. And yeah, let's copy this, play animation on input, no, wait for animation to end. Okay, just so we can create it. And over here, let's go and do create conditions, wait for animation to end, drag this, and this needs to do something. And in this case, I'm just going to add the portal node because we're going back to the locomotion, and I'm going to add this and make transition to here. So wait for animation won't do anything, it's just going to wait till we here. We can collapse this as well, and we have all of these. Okay, this is a very simple behavior tree, and we could skip, in this case we could have skipped it entirely. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Let's put it down here. So I'm going to select my guy. As you can see, this updates. Let's clear this, and I'm going to hit play. And I think we forgot to add, yeah, on the input manager. Let's put this on the side. Scene view should be over here. And let's go into the input manager and assign this RB, RT, LB, LT. Okay, let's bring this back and hit play. Let's select him again, and we get the error from the damage collider, so that's not really that much of an issue because we don't have, there's no inventory manager assigned yet. So remove those two, that's where the error comes from. But you will see that below, down here, or well, at least whenever the update runs, when the ongoing updates, this updates. But you will see that we have an issue. When we are attacking, we fall through the ground. So how do we fix this? If we open our state and add a new action in here for wait animation, that action is going to be is grounded. Okay, and you can see that I'm attacking. If I'm moving though, we have a new issue that I'm actually sliding. So how do we fix that? We're going to see that on the next video. Okay, so let's finish with this. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more, then consider supporting me on Patreon so we can keep making more.